And now, stand-up comedy with our special guest, Norm Fineman, here on the Paul Leslie Hour.
Good morning, Atlanta. Thanks for coming out today. It's nice to see you here. My name's Stormin Norman. When you got the name Norman, you got to add a Stormin to it because Norman by itself doesn't stand too well. Years ago, Johnny Cash wrote a song about life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, let me tell you, Norman ain't much easier. What do you think of when you think of the name Norman? Who do you think of? Probably the fat guy from Cheers sitting at the corner of the bar, drinking beer. Maybe if you go back far enough, crazy Norman Bates from the Bates Hotel back with the movie Psycho, stabbing people. Or even an animated cartoon a few years ago, Paranorman, about a crazy kid who talks to dead people. Okay? That's what you get when you get with Norman. It's not an easy name to live with. I wish I could have had a better name. Think about some of the great sports stars we've had over the years. Bill Russell, Tom Brady. Okay, those are real strong names. Jim Brown. Even the superheroes. Batman was Bruce Wayne. Superman was Clark Kent. And even other great people, inventors like Jonas Salk. Or how about John Glenn? Those are great names. Norman Fineman? Give me a break. That's something to overcome, okay? That's really tough. So like height and other things that add to your success, overcoming a name like Norman isn't an easy thing. And by the way, if you're out there and you're laughing and your name is Alfred or Stanley or Melvin, don't laugh too hard because you're right behind me. Now, you couple that with getting a little bit older and things even get tougher, okay? Till I was 60 years old, I had one doctor. Go in every once in a while and have a physical, and that's it. But now I've got bunches of them. I'm a member of the IST Club, I-S-T. What is the IST Club? All the doctors that end with IST. So I'll start with the top of my head and tell you who they are. And these are all real stories and real doctors. I have a neurologist, I have an optometrist, an ophthalmologist, an audiologist, an otolaryngologist, a cardiologist, a nephrologist, even a proctologist, all the way down to my podiatrist. Okay, all the is. And takes a lot of time planning and going to doctors. And all the doctors are comedians nowadays. They all got a little story to tell you. So I go in for my annual checkup. The doctor says, right at the beginning, after you get your weight, doc says, I got some good news and some bad news about your weight, Norman. What's that? The good news is you gained just 1 pound this year. Great, what's the bad news, doctor? Last year I told you to lose 30. Funny doctor. It comes to the end of the same routine and he starts to put on his glove and he tells me, it's time for the rectal examination. I tell him, doctor, every year when I come in for this, that's the part I regret the most. And he looks me right in the eye and he says, you think I enjoy this? Now you go to the otolaryngologist, okay? Ear, nose, and throat guy. Took me 3 visits there before I could come up with and be able to repeat his name. The otolaryngologist talks to me about what I have, a condition in my right ear called tinnitus. Let me tell you what tinnitus is, he says. 50 million Americans have it. It's mostly people over 50 years old, and you get a buzzing or a humming or a crackling noise in your ear. I said, I've got that in spades. I said, it goes 14, 15 hours a day. It's like a loud beehive. What can you do for me? He said, nothing. I said, nothing? He said, well, they used to go in and do a little operation in your inner ear, but didn't work. So now you just have to ignore it. I said, a beehive in my head, 14 hours a day, ignore it? Is that what they really teach you in medical school? He says, that's all I can do for you. He says, as a matter of fact, he said, last week a guy in Michigan had a case like yours, which is one of the 5% of the worst in terms of noise and longevity. He said, and he threatened to kill his doctor because the doctor couldn't do anything about it. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, well, you don't have to worry. I'm not in the mood to kill you, but with this noise and you can't do anything, I am going to be looking at some high buildings. But I can't believe that's your answer. He said, that's it. Shook hands, paid my bill. out the door. Well, as I usually do when I do a bit, I'll leave you with a story about doctors, since we're talking about doctors and medical. A young woman comes into a doctor's office. She's about 19 years old, attractive woman, first time at the doctor's office, and she says, "Doctor, I need to get a physical." He says, "Okay, come on in and get comfortable." He said, "Take your clothes off. I'm going to do an examination." She says, "Doctor, I'm very shy. I can't do that." "What do you mean?" He says, "I can't take my clothes off. You're a man." He said, "Take your clothes off. I have to do the examination." She says, "Doctor, you're a man." He says, "Look, I'm a doctor first. I'm a man second." He says, "Take your clothes off and I'll do the examination." She says, "I don't know. I'm very shy. I can't do it." He said, "Would it help if I lower the lights or shut them off?" She says, "Yeah, I think that'd be helpful." So about a minute later, she's holding her clothes and looks at the doctor and she says, "Doctor, where should I put my clothes?" He says, "Right here on top of mine." That's the funny doctors. Thanks for listening. Have a great night. Peace out.
Hey,
Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's all good in the hood, as we say around here.
Looks like you got quite a number of pictures on the wall.
Yeah, it's all my family.
Nice.
My all the way back to my grandparents, my parents, my kids, and my grandkids. So we got 4 generations there. I see you got. How does it feel to be on your own, the complete unknown, like a Rolling Stone, right?
That's right. I
He's
knew I
good.
could get
He's
you to
good.
sing.
I'm glad you can. Nobody else could.
Well, Norman, I'm hoping you can tell
Yes, sir.
me who are some of the comedians who have made you laugh the most?
Okay, I'm going to be an old guy, so I had a lot of people over the years that I watched as a kid that I enjoyed. Um, all the old time comedians like Myron Cohen, Jackie Leonard, um, Shecky Green, um, uh, and of course, right into, I always loved Johnny Carson's monologue every night. I watched that for forever. He did, I think, one of the best monologues. Um, and then in modern times, of course, Robin Williams is insane, but he's incredibly funny, probably the most intense. And then the dry humor, like Stephen Wright, probably
Oh
familiar
yeah,
with him.
love him.
He was terrific. And years ago on the Ed Sullivan Show, they had a guy that was a precursor of him, Jackie Leonard. I mean, not Jackie Leonard, Jackie Vernon. He was a deadpan guy too. Those guys have their own touch. And of course, Billy Crystal. And right up to the modern time, I would say I watch these comedy stations or whatever. Kevin Hart is really pretty funny. Um, so a lot of them. And as a kid, I loved the Three Stooges.
Oh yeah.
Every Saturday morning, I watched them for years. So there wasn't one person in particular, but just a host of different people over the years that I found. Gene Gene Wilder. I mean, I laugh just looking at him. When he comes on, I start to smile or laugh.
Now, Brooke.
So I guess those are the ones that come to mind.
Well, that's a good variety. We have a lot of favorites in common, including the Shecky Green. Hard to beat. The this morning when I was shaving, I was listening to some live stand up from Jackie Mason, who has also made me
Oh yeah, I
laugh
liked him.
quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, his tapes are hilarious. And of course, I left out Rodney Dangerfield. He's terrific.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I loved Rodney too. Loved Rodney and his movies.
Now, Brooke.
Back to School and
Now, Brooke.
Easy Money, and his movies are hilarious.
Hey Norm, what do you think of Mel Brooks?
It's funny. My wife is in the background. She's yelling Mel Brooks. I didn't mention Mel Brooks, but yeah, no, he was has he passed away recently?
No, he's still with us.
No, he's still going. I just watched last night, the night before last. I stayed up late and watched Blazing Saddles,
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
which was just hilarious. Because I don't know if it'd be allowed today with all the political correctness or whatever, but it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, they wouldn't
Yeah,
make that
he's a
movie.
genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they would make that movie, but I watch it anytime I see it. I'm channel shifting. I can't go through that. Go by it. It's just a tremendous funny movie.
So Norm, why is laughter important? Why is comedy important to us human beings?
Well, for a lot of reasons, and particularly during this time, right, with the COVID and all that, we need outlets. And as a, I know a lot of the old time comedians were Jewish comedians, and they said a lot of that was because of the pain of their history and whatever. They had to find laughter, sort of like the black people found spirituals and singing and whatever. When you're oppressed people, you need an outlet, and I think for Jews that was their outlet. But they've also done studies uh, in elderly homes and nursing homes and whatever, that these old people need to laugh, and they bring in
Hmm.
either someone comedians, or they bring in videos of the Three Stooges, or Laurel and Hardy, or the old comedians, Milton Berle, and they show it to these old people, and they laugh, and it's supposedly healthy for them. That, and I hear a dog barking, bringing in dogs sometimes for therapy for
Yeah.
kids or for elderly people. They bring in dogs. There's certain things that just relax people and make them feel better. So it's more than just having a good time for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20. Um, so I think that's one of the reasons comedy is so important for me as a salesman for so many years. And then I was a teacher, but I didn't use it as much. But as a salesperson, helped break the ice, and after hours or during lunches, it was a way for me to pretty quickly capture an audience, which that was that was my strength. I could tell a funny story. I could tell something that would loosen people up. And most importantly, as I'm getting older, I realized this is a skill I have that makes people feel good.
Hmm.
Everybody's got their thing. Some people can build things. Some people can draw things. Other people are great sculptors or whatever. I never had those skills, but I could always make people smile and laugh, and I think that's important. So I had a good fit, and so I used it. And as the years went by, it became an integral part of my personality.
Well, I think there's something in a name, as people saw in that clip, and you're a fine man.
There you
And
go.
and Karina and I were talking. There is nothing wrong with the name Norman or Norm. Nothing, nothing at all. So, Norm, is there anything you would like to say to all your friends and family and all the good people out there?
uh, Keep laughing, keep smiling. It's really important to do. And this thing has been really fun doing, just sitting down and
Hmm.
thinking of doing something. And I started with my name. I could have done a number of other things, but uh, I remember when I was a little kid, they came out with this song. Sue Thompson, I think, sang it. It was called Norman. If you haven't heard it, you should look it up. It starts off, Norman, ooh, Norman, ooh, Norman, Norman, my love. Well, I was in sixth grade when that song came out, and I walked through the halls with kids all day long. Hey, Norman, ooh, Norman, ooh, So they teased the hell out of me for about a year or two with that song. So those things can have an impact on you, but um, you adjust to what you have. But it was kind of a fun place to start with my name. So I appreciate the opportunity. This has been really fun sitting down. It was kind of easy to do when you do things from your life. Like David Brenner, he's another one. He always did stories about he would get in a bus or a train and just observe people, and that was his bit.
Hmm.
A guy was sitting on a newspaper, or he was sitting on a newspaper, and a guy said, "Are you reading that?" And he'd get up and turn the page and sit down and say, "Yeah, I am." But he would see people, just another funny one he had was a guy was holding on to one of those straps in the subway. I don't know if they still have them. You're going back and forth, and
Yeah, yeah.
the guy was the guy was smiling, and then he would wave like that, and he'd smile again, he'd wave it like that again. And then finally, after the third time, he said to the guy, "What are you doing?" The guy said, "I was telling myself a joke, and I remembered I already heard it before." Well, that was David Brenner's kind of humor. So things that you do like that, when I was talking about the doctors, those were all true stories. So they stick in your head forever because they're insanity, sometimes. So
Oh yeah.
you don't have to write them down or create them because they're part of your life. So they're easy to do. So that's about it. It's important. Keep laughing, enjoy, and that's the other side of the pain we have today. So we need as much of that balance as we can get.
Well spoken. Well, my hat is off to anybody who has the guts to sing or to tell a joke. So hats off to you, Norm. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great seeing you again.
Good to see you.
Take care, Paul.
Alrighty. Bye bye.